Let's go live. Let's do it. Welcome. Welcome everyone to the first night of the Multiverse Fundraiser. I am Kelly Gettner, your chairwoman. I am here with Willow Schuyler, one of my co-conspirators, and we have a special treat for you for our opening remarks. We've got Mark Weiss, who is the founder and president of our charity, Comicbooks for Kids. Welcome, Mark.
Listen, you said special treat. I was looking behind me to see who else you were going to bring on. Listen, it's a delight to be here. Thank you for yet again sponsoring and supporting Comic Book for Kids. Thank you for an incredible Facebook post with all the very nice and kind words. So it's a delight and a pleasure to be here.
And we're happy to have you.
We really are. So for anyone who might be coming in fresh, why don't you give a primer on what Comic Books for Kids does?
That'd be terrific. So you can see the gray hair. So let me just explain. I'm really 30 years old. Okay. I started a charity 7 years ago. You work this many hours, you turn gray. It's pretty much standard practice. But Comic Book for Kids started as nothing more than a desire to take my collection, because I had been collecting a long time and I had excess, and I wanted to provide some excess comics to kids in hospitals. So the thought was, find a charity that existed where I could take my comics and give them to the kiddos, right? So I logged on to Google, typed comic book charity, and there really didn't seem to be one. So I typed charity for comic books. Google said, listen, dumbass, I'm smart enough to know the difference. Your answer is going to be the same, okay? So after doing multiple searches, the conclusion wasn't that there wasn't a comic book charity. Of course, there had to be. My conclusion was my Google search skills were just simply abysmal, and I was just not typing the same words. After a while, I came to the conclusion that I guess there really isn't one. I did find one in Las Vegas. I called them. They didn't answer. I sent them an email, no response. Okay, I guess they're not real. So the decision was to let's just create one, let's just create a charity that gives comic books to kids. But again, this was the formative years, and I'm thinking, okay, what's it going to be? A couple hours a week? Yeah. Play a little God of War, a little Witcher 3, do some gaming, maybe do a little exercise. Yeah, well, the exercise was the first thing to go. That I didn't stress too hard about that disappearing. But once hospitals heard about what we were doing, and we started giving comics to hospitals, and by the way, this started in my basement. I literally had a book rack, and I took some of my comics and I started calling a few hospitals. You want some comics? Yeah. But then hospitals talk to each other, right? Before I know it, I started having emails. Hey, tell me about this thing you got, this comic book thing you got. Lots of stories we're going to talk about in the next 40 minutes or half hour. But long story short, today, as I'm talking to all of you, we are the largest charity in the United States for comic books and pop culture items, including coloring books, comic books, manga, action figures, Funko Pops, T-shirts, anything pop culture to children in hospitals and cancer centers in all 50 states. Oh, by the way, I didn't say North America. I should have, because we are in Canada and we ship to Canada. And 2 years ago, we opened up a branch in the UK for England, Ireland, and Scotland. So the truth is, a little bit of bragging. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I'm proud.
You should.
We're the largest charity in the world for what we do, which is provide comic books and pop culture items to children in hospitals and cancer centers. And for those of you who have family in the military, a few years ago because we were receiving materials that were inappropriate for the kids. Wolverine's cool when he pops his claws, but when he chops someone's heads off, we thought it might not be the best thing for, kids sitting in hospitals or moms who don't want to see Wolverine doing that. So we started a sister charity called Comic Book for Troops. Yet again, could never have imagined the response. Overnight, we actually became the largest charity in the U.S. for comic books and pop culture items to the military. So that's where we are today. We're coming off a phenomenal 2024. We shipped more last year than we have ever before. I think we're up to 500,000 comics shipped in the last 5 years on items, all from humble beginnings of just me thinking, how do I get some small comics to kids in hospitals. Now, I really want to say this. It's not me. It's not. It's the idea is here. Okay. We had the idea, but we put it out. Everybody who's watching, it's all you guys who helped us become what we are, because all we can do is have the idea, but you had to say, this makes sense. I'm going to send you some stuff. I'm going to send you a few dollars. It's the incredible community that Kelly, Willow, you're part of, all your listeners are part of. You guys enabled us to be successful. So while I'm the talking head, the success is really based upon all your listeners and you guys. That's where the real success is.
And we actually do have some good news. So far, we've raised $231 for the fundraiser already.
That is phenomenal. Listen, I don't recall. We are way ahead. You want to know how much we're ahead of from where we were last year when we did this? $231 because I remember. This is phenomenal. Whoever did that, could someone put $4 more in? Because I just want it to be
an even number. Yes.
We need 235.
Let's round it up.
And then I'm going to say, 15 would make it 250. And that's just a great number, because that's the centennial, so yeah. But that's how we started. It was just really the thought of making a difference. And little could I have ever imagined. You want to know what the best part is? Yes. Crayley, you're the best. You really are. I hope I get it.
So just to read this out for anyone just listening, Crayley Vanessa said, we talked to the art of Brian Rodman, who we love, to make sure you got 20 copies of the nebulizer. So
Brian's awesome. Crayley,
we love.
I pronounced your name correctly this time. I'll never forget just being sorry. It's just embarrassing. And then I just
everyone does it. It's a rite of passage to know Crayley.
Yeah. But it's humbling. This is not what I thought it would be, and I couldn't be happier. I get up every morning. They always say, it's not work if you love what you do. And I get up every morning, and I can't wait to see my emails. I can't wait to see what we're going to be doing. I can't wait to see which hospitals may have some special requests. I can't wait to see if an APO or someone in the military has said, hey, we need a care package, or a hospital has said, hey, we're doing a fun comic event. Can you send this stuff? And we love comics so much that we took it outside that. There are social groups. There's a group in Seattle that works with disabled teens that have a hard time communicating. We adopted them, and so we send them all kinds of great stuff. So, the word orphanage has disappeared from the vernacular today. There's different verbiage for that, but we support organizations like that. I've had schools that have come to me and asked for materials, and it is very heartwarming. But for those of you who want to see this, if you wander through our Facebook, you're going to see a kindergarten class that did this at the end of last year, where they got together. The kindergarten class got together. They all drew their own comics. They went to the local comic store. They sold the comics. And they raised $700
Oh my
for
gosh.
us.
Wow.
And then I decided, because I am spontaneous, to grab a couple action figures, contact the kindergarten teacher, and call them and thank them, and do a play for them with 2 action figures. And yes, it is recorded. And yes, we will figure it out. And I think I've got a couple of the figures here. I had a character, and I will have to show it if I can't find it now. But it was here we go. Ready for this? Here we go. I took this action figure, which is Red Tornado. How I had this, where I got this, I don't know, but I had it. So I went in and I grabbed this, and I said, "This is the adventures of Spaghetti Man." And the kids, of course, started laughing, and they started giggling, and they started, jumping around. And then I had another character here that was a blue character, and I said, "Well, if you're Spaghetti Man, I'm Milkman." Spaghetti Man says, "That's the dumbest name I've ever heard for a character." And he says, "Oh, and Spaghetti Man is better?" And this was complete. I hadn't even planned to do this. This was completely improvisational. And the kindergartners started screaming and laughing, and one started jumping up and down saying, "I'm Spaghetti Man." And yes, it's recorded. And yes, we're trying to figure out how to get this to everyone. We've touched a lot of hearts, and I'm very humbled again by the support of all those who are watching this, who will see it on replay. You've enabled us to make a difference for schools, social groups, the military, children in all 50 states, children in cancer centers, some who don't come out. I mean, there's a reality here. We provide a lot of positivity, and that's with intent. But we know there's some stories that are tough. We deal with them every day. We don't dwell on them. Our mission is to provide a dose of positivity. And while those children in the hospital, while we are helping them with what we provide them, we will make a difference. We will have them smiling. We will have them laughing. That is what we do. And I am thrilled to be part of this.
And for someone who grew up in foster care, what you do with the children who are in need is greatly appreciated. And I would love to see your company expand to those who are in foster care, because I'm a huge nerd. I grew up reading comic books, and for a kid to get their first comic book, no matter whether it's brand new or ragged, it would mean the world to them, just to have that moment of escapism.
So the kindergartners sent me, I got copies of all their materials.
Mm-hmm.
So they actually sent me these little copies of all their stories. But the teacher said, "Hey, Mark, you're going to love this. We did something really special for you." And they put together this really nice brochure. And it says, "Superheroes bump their heads." So I opened it up, and I'll leave it here. Merry Christmas, KLA Huntsville, because Huntsville, Alabama, was school in Huntsville, Alabama, kindergarten class. And they did this comic as a whole class for us. And yes, that is Spaghetti Man fighting Milkman. I hope we have helped those kindergartners as they grow up to learn that charity and giving makes a difference. They were thrilled. They want to do it again. They want more adventures of Spaghetti Man and Milkman. They want more adventures. They want to do more comics. And I shared with them, do more charity. It doesn't have to be for us. Pick something else. It doesn't matter. Teach them the spirit of giving to others and helping others, because that's what it's all about. So did I share, Kelly, I shared the Batman story, I think, at the end of I think that's how I closed
I think
out.
you need to share it again.
So we'll do that 5 minutes. How long are we scheduled for on this? We're at 15 minutes now. Because
we have an hour.
You can clear the schedule. I'll go for 3-4 hours myself, just talking.
Well, we've got Creek Wilson next. You can't bump him.
No, because there's someone that's actually credible on camera. What time? No, so what time would that be?
Credible.
How much longer?
5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay, so we still have 40 minutes, right?
Yep.
So I'll try to take a breath. Try to take a breath sometime in between now and then.
And yes, I'll tell you. I'll give you the 5-minute warning so you can.
Yeah, that's great.
Because that's a good closer.
I am curious because I have lots of stories that I can share. I've shared them before. I'll share them again. But I want to just stop and pause and see if anyone has any questions or anything crazy or ideas that they want to throw at me. Now, Willow, you said, growing up as you did in foster care, that is an important aspect. I will say it right here, right now. If there are organizations that would like our support, all they need to do is send me an email or call me. We have never said no to a single organization that has reached out. That includes social groups, that includes schools, community centers, anybody that wants material. We find a way to help them. And as Kelly knows, we've talked a little bit about the cosplay community and how we're trying to, we're not there yet because we have to balance our inventory supply while also making sure there's enough material to give to the cosplayers. Because, as a cosplay team, you could have people go into a hospital every week, so we got to be careful on that, but we're working through on that. And to those of
you've sent me stuff to bring to Ronald McDonald House, which has been great.
Correct. And for those people who are listening who may say, you know what, if you want to check this, is my hospital supported? On our website, we actually have a list of hospitals that we work with. So you can always check that on our website. And if you're not sure, you can reach out to me. And if you don't see a hospital or you want to get a hospital in the network, again, reach out to me. And if you have a contact there, we add hospitals all the time. A good percentage of our time, believe it or not, is making sure that the contacts are still current because people leave, right? Yeah. And we work with over 200 hospitals. So we will send notes out 5-6 times a year, and a good 10% of the people that were there last time are gone. So it's a good chunk of our time is making sure that our hospital staff information is current. But we do it, we do it.
And I imagine it's a high burnout field.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm watching Grey's Anatomy, and even that is like, I know it doesn't depict the real lives of
Grey's Anatomy taught me never to be a doctor because no matter how talented you could be, speaking for me, I couldn't put up with the beep out, blurp the words. You could be incredibly talented, but you just don't want to put up with the political that goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So
there's it's not as it's just as bad as watching Days of Our Lives. That one storyline went on for 30 years.
There's no difference. They're all soap operas, but unfortunately, politics creeps into every aspect of work. Everybody who's watching, you guys, your real jobs, whatever they may be, there's politics that get in the way of getting things done. It's just the way it is. Guess what organization doesn't have any politics?
Yours.
Guess why? Because if I want to do something, I do it. Who's going to fire me? I guess I could fire myself. But the great news is, look, if someone needs something, we do it. If something needs to happen, it happens. If someone calls me, they're shocked that I usually answer the phone. Now someone's going to say, "Oh, I got to try that." Go ahead. I do. If I don't answer, it's because I'm on another call because one of your other people decided to test me first. It's really the way it is. This was truly an amazing year. And by the way, Kelly, for those of you who don't know, Kelly, CB4K award winner, Kelly, recognized 2024 at our CB4K awards. Congratulations.
It was a huge honor. It was really meaningful.
The work her and Crayley and everybody that is involved with this is amazing. I'm just here for the ride.
Well, the song by the Eagles, Hotel California. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. Well, welcome to Hotel California. You're not leaving. You're now part of this. Okay. So listen, I'm thrilled by this. Kelly, why don't you share with the listeners CB4K awards? And I'll preface this, but every year the organization spends time to recognize those in the industry who have made a difference for kids, community, and the troops. And there's multiple, and here's the difference between our awards and the other award ceremonies out there. If you go to or you watch any award ceremony and there are 4 nominees for an award, how many win?
One.
Which means on an award ceremony with 4 people, you have 3 losers. We don't have losers in Comic Book for Kids. We have winners. So if there are 3 nominees, guess what? They're not nominees. We have 3 winners. We can have multiple winners. We don't compete against each other. We work alongside with each other. So what we did was we had multiple publishers of the year. We had multiple retailers of the year. We had multiple, manga publishers. We had multiple categories. And if you were nominated, you won, because if you were recognized, we wanted to recognize you. So that was a difference in the way we do our awards. We don't have losers. It's okay to have more than one person per category. But Kelly, I'd like you to share your thoughts, of that event. I mean, how you felt, what you felt in the room before you received your recognition, just generally the feeling in that room as we were doing the event.
And I just grabbed the video from my speech, so I'll play that in a minute too, if you're all right with that. So it was a really positive event. It was also really overwhelming to look around and realize that you're also honoring DC Comics and the CEO of Funko Pop and comic legend Art Baltazar. And I'm like, what am I doing here? I'm a very small potato. And it's very
what you
very
learn
humbling.
And what I learned is, I mean, I'm a guy that was never in the comic book industry. And
True.
for the last several years, I would say, I'm not part of the industry. And people would say, shut up. Yes, you are. Now you are. Okay. You are part of the industry. And I think it's funny how we've created something together. All of us, those watching, a groundswell of wonderful support to make a difference for kids, to make a difference for community, to make a difference for those troops protecting our shores.
Very special. Do you want me to play my speech?
Sure.
Okay. It's a phone video, but
It's cosplayer, but I want to create not a fundraiser, but a fundraiser. And so when they reach out to us and put together an overwhelming weekend event with celebrities, with comic professionals, all to raise money for us, yeah, we have to recognize this person. Does this person have any clue? Well, I didn't tell her to be here, but I'll leave that to the response. We are thrilled to present our next CD4K award. Kevin.
Totally surprised. I didn't know this was coming. So the world can be a dark place, and I really think it's important for all of us to spread light when we can, and I tried really hard to do that, and I'm really lucky that I get to do that with just amazing teams of people. My Multiverse Fundraiser has a team that helps me move mountains, and I also work with customers with a cause. Another team that helps me move mountains and getting to work with Comicbooks For Kids has been a partner that also moves mountains. So I've been just really fortunate to work with amazing people to do that and spread that light, and it's awesome. So,
Thank you so much, Kelly.
thank you.
You could feel the warmth in that room just from that video. Now, by the way, it's interesting. I mean, I was wearing a coat. You looked amazing. You had to be cold. Because it was, what, March, April. It's in Chicago. It was cold in there. You looked amazing.
oh, thanks.
But you could feel the warmth. You could feel the warmth in that room. And the young lady next to me is my daughter, Michelle, who runs the charity along with me. Most people from social media don't know me. They know Michelle. But such a great speech, and so heartfelt. I mean, you don't know what you're going to say. You think you do, and then you get up there, and it's a very surreal moment. I have not seen any video footage since of that event. So that's actually the first video footage I've seen since we did it.
Really?
Really, yeah. Yeah, so that's nice. Congratulations again.
Thank
Well
you.
deserved, and we'll probably see you again in Chicago this year, right? For C2E2.
Oh yeah.
Wonderful.
I wasn't gonna go because we're going to have Costume Con up here, but that just got canceled. So
Wow.
I'm in for C2E2.
Well,
Yeah. Good news, bad news, because I was sad about missing C2E2, but now I don't have to choose.
so Willow, where's home?
I'm in Winnipeg, Manitoba, which is the middle of Canada.
So I was actually speaking with a company today. They're a printing company. They're called Avenue 4.
Okay.
And they're in Winnipeg.
Oh.
And I guess I can share. Are we up to two? Can we get to 235, please? Come on, someone put $4 in. Can we do that?
Yeah, we're at 231 right now. We can definitely get up
more
to
dollars. Come on, I'll reimburse you. I'll PayPal you back. But I wanted to see 235. So. Art Baltazar at that event mentioned that he was creating a comic book specifically with us. It was announced almost a year ago, and all new characters, some new characters added to his universe, and about 5 months ago, I had lunch with Art. He lives fairly close, and he said, I've been really struggling with the name of the comic. I go, Art, you call it whatever you want to. So he shows me a picture of it, and it's called Comic Book for Kids. He goes, Mark, it just made sense. Okay, because it's a comic book, right? And it's going for kids. Art, far be it from me that it's your book, whatever you want.
Oh.
Well, I'm excited to share that the reason I was talking to the Winnipeg today is that's where the printer is. The book is at the printer as of last night. It is being printed, so we will have copies to be able to show at C2E2 and very soon. So a book created. This is our first.
Oh, wow.
Crayley, you're the best.
Nice.
But whoever did that, guys,
they're trying to encourage people to donate more. We're at 237 now, so still not an even number. So y'all, $3 more.
We need 3 more. Carl,
You're making us
Oh,
OCD.
Carl, you are amazing.
thanks, man. Thanks for stopping by. Listen, appreciate it.
We love Carl.
Who would have expected that?
Also, Andrea had an autocorrect, but she's inviting you, Mark, to stay and talk to her and Creek right after this panel.
You don't want me to talk because you won't have a chance to say a single word. You'll just be looking at each other. You'll be typing. Does he ever take a breath? Does he ever take a breath? My God, can you talk? Thank you. I'd be glad to do so. The enthusiasm that you see here, the positivity, the energy, it comes from what we do. It's the emails, it's the feedback, it's the letters from hospitals that said, I had a child come into my hospital and they didn't speak any English. So I took one of your comic books and I brought it over, and Kyle's eyes lit up, and pointed and said something in Spanish. So I said, no, I said the English name. So then she said the English name and I said the Spanish name. And all of a sudden she started laughing. And we stayed there. This is the email. We stayed there for a half hour with the child all lit up. And then she said to me in the best language she could, after surgery, will you read this to me?
Oh.
That's now understand. I did not comprehend. I did not comprehend the impact because we send the materials out. The nurses give the materials to the kids. So I live vicariously through these stories, and they're there all the time. One day I got this email. It was early evening, and I read the email, and I sit back in my chair, and I got up from my chair and I walked out of my office here, and my wife looked at me and said, "Uh-oh, you just read something." And I said, I received an email, and it said, Mark, I will ask you never to share my name, but you have no idea the positive impact you're making to children in hospitals. How do I know? Because I was one of those abused children growing up. I was beaten repeatedly by my father. And what kept me going was comic books. My mom would bring me comic books. And I looked forward to the comic books because when I read the comics, I wasn't in my hospital bed anymore. I was somewhere else. So don't ever think that what you're doing isn't making an impact, because you're giving every one of those kids an avenue and an escape out of that hospital bed. And when they have that comic, they're somewhere else. And this person felt the desire to have to share that. And these are the stories I get. I get these stories all the time. I was driving just to the store, and my phone rang. You guys know I do really pick up my phone, as I mentioned before. And it was someone calling from Tennessee and said, "Mark, how are you?" Good. He says, I realize what I like about your charity. I said, "Well, tell me." He said, "We live in a world of divisiveness where we tend to put people in boxes. You're either right or you're left. You're Republican or you're Democrat, black or you're white. You go on and on and on. We put people in boxes. Not you. You guys, Comic Book for Kids, you bring people together. It doesn't matter." And I said, hello, Miss Karen. Nice to see you. Nice to say hello. I said, sickness doesn't know divisiveness. Sickness doesn't care what box you're in. Sickness impacts us all. And that's what we are going to address. And that's how we're going to make a difference. So the stories are amazing. And that's where this energy comes from. That's where this positivity comes from. It's easy. It's just easy. And it's infectious. And I hope all of you watching feel it and want to make a difference. Now, a lot of people say, how can I help? What can I do? I always start by saying, what do you want to do? And they said, I don't know. Just tell me. It's like, no, I don't want to tell you because then it's a job. What do you want to do? Do you want to go to your comic shop and say, do you work with Comic Book for Kids? Do you want to contact a hospital and say, do you know about Comic Book for Kids? Do you want to go to a hospital and say, hey, would you like some comic books or some toys for the kids? Do you know anybody in the military that we could brighten their day up? Do you want to help out with something? What do you want to do? And I always ask people because we're thrilled to have anybody help that wants to help. What questions can I ask for you, Kelly? Because I've been talking for 37 minutes with only 2 breaths.
Oh, it's helping save my voice because, as I mentioned to you off screen, and as some people know, I lost my voice this week.
I would never know. If anyone would have thought somebody would have lost their voice, it would be me. Okay.
No, I have such a bad cold because timing. Well, so since we are raising money, and I always love to be transparent, let's talk about where money goes. When your charity receives money, what do you spend it on?
I go to McDonald's. It's the first place I go because you got to help the economy out. You know what? Now someone's going to say. So let's talk about that. We have the best way of answering that is to point people to our website. And on our website, on our homepage, we have on the right-hand side, it says the month January, and then we have a starburst that says now shipping. And it's a page that shows all the materials we put in our boxes. When we first started, we called it Comic Book for Kids because guess what? All we were giving people were comic books. It's all we thought we were ever going to be. Again, me trying to take my excess and make a difference for the kids. But then hospitals said, hey, do you have any coloring books? So now every shipment has coloring books. We do pay for those. We pay 75 cents a piece for every coloring book. And remember, we support 200 hospitals. We also have something called play packs. We show the picture of it on the website. But in addition to coloring books, they're about like that big. And they have 3 crayons and little stickers and just a couple pages to color. The hospitals love them. Every box is going to have a dozen or 10 to 12 of those in it, okay? We pay 75 cents each for those. All right. The comics we get free, those are donated. But sometimes we have to pay shipping. If Diamond has free comic book day books or other people have books, they'll say to us, hey, we can give you the materials, but can you help us with the shipping cost? I mean, it may be a few $100s. Yes, we can. We want the materials. The request came in, do you have manga? We didn't, but now we're the largest charity in the U.S. for manga. I didn't mention that before, but now we put tremendous, and that's thanks to companies like Viz and Tokyo Pop, who have been, and Kodansha, who have been so great with their materials. Attack on Titan from Kodansha, that's going to the military. Naruto from Viz, that's going to the kids. Dragon Ball Z, that's going to the kid. Well, Dragon Ball Z is going to the kids. Dragon Ball's not. Wow, did I have to get smart on manga? Okay. Funko became one of our largest contributors.
Oh, wow.
So Funko will send us materials. We don't pay for any of that. They've been very gracious. But over time, our box, which went from that thick and that tall, is now like this. The boxes weigh 25 pounds to 30 pounds. And so our shipping is unbelievable. All right. I mean, we're shipping to a couple hundred hospitals, and some hospitals request multiple boxes. Some hospitals have 5 subsidiaries that they each want a box. Okay. So we'll ship to all those hospitals. So our boxes have gotten bigger and the cost has gotten bigger. In addition, we have indoor space. Why? Because we're going to kids in hospitals, and with COVID and everything else, hospitals informed us that infectious disease controls are important. So we had to be smart on that and make sure everything is indoors and protected and kept not in a sterile environment. It's not sterile, but it's indoors, it's protected, it's temperature controlled. So we had to get space. And we have now almost 12 to 1,400 square feet of space to house what we get in and get out, which are the Funko Pops, the T-shirts, the coloring books, the manga, the toys that we receive. So our single biggest expense is our lease. Okay, we're spending well over $1,000 a month on our lease, $1,000 a month. Okay, donations come in or donations don't come in. I write them a check for $1,000. All right. Our shipping costs, every time we do a shipping cycle, and we do it 5-6 times a year, it's $3,000 to $3,500. Okay. Right there, that's $15,000, $20,000. We talked about the coloring books that we have to buy. So all of that adds up, and the hospital said, hey, can you get us some plush bears? So we worked very hard to find, some plush that we could. Found a company called US Toy. We pay for them, but we pay very small amounts, okay, because they know we're a charity. But everything isn't always free. As a charity, people do give us, but there might be some cost associated with it. The Art Baltazar book that we talked about, I mean, that's going to cost us $3,000, but it's the right thing to do because we have a special heartwarming book to give to kids, and it's our own property, so we can print it as much as we want. So that's where the money goes. If you had told me 4 or 5 years ago I'd be spending money on coloring books and plush bears and play packs, and never would have thought that. But we manage to the donations we receive. When the donations are good, we can ship more. The boxes can get bigger. We can buy more bears. If it's a tough time, we tighten up a little bit. The boxes get a little bit smaller, but we find ways. We make it work for everybody.
I just want to share this bit of good news. Curly Vanessa said that the Multiverse Fundraiser got 2 shout outs on a local Texarkana country station in their news section this week. That's thanks to Hollis Thompson,
Excellent.
who is on our board. He's awesome. He's been getting the word out like a rock star.
Well, our Facebook hasn't gone up today, but it will. And I wonder what we're going to be talking about today. It's on the tip of my tongue, but yeah. So we will be shouting you guys out with our
Excellent.
thanks and encouraging everyone to participate and to make a difference and to get involved. And by the way, if you don't want to get involved with our organization, get involved with a different organization. Start your own. Start your own and work with us. There's no wrong answer. There's enough fun in this industry to get involved.
Charity is really good for the heart, and it does you as much good as it does the people around you, and there's no wrong.
You saw, I want to go back to the CB4K Awards. People laughed, people cried.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There were times we told stories where people were in tears. But that's the emotional roller coaster. But at the end of the event, everybody was feeling good, laughing, understanding that all of us together are part of a bigger something. Again, I'm thrilled to have the energy and enthusiasm. But as I always tell people, behind every great boxer is their staff, is their training team, is their work regimen, is their coach, is their food coordinator. That's us. We don't exist without great people like you, Kelly, like you, Willow, Karen, who's been great supporters of us, Crayley, who's been wonderful, all the people watching. That's the reason we're successful, is because of these incredible people who want to help us make a difference. Because we couldn't do it. We couldn't do it without. So we're very, very touched. I'm going to tell you the Batman story, even though it's a little early. Because I love the Batman
Good
story.
Time.
It's probably one of my favorite stories to tell because it talks to the power of what we do. And it talks to the power of this industry and the characters that exist. There was an individual who called me and lived in St. Louis and said, "Hey, Mark, I want to do something local to St. Louis. My business wants me to do something to St. Louis. Is there anything you can do? Anything you can help me with?" I go, "Sure. Well, there's a hospital. There's a couple hospitals out there. What do you want to do?" He goes, "Yeah, maybe send me some comics that I can, donate them to the hospital." I said, "Is that something you would want to do?" He goes, "Yeah, I think so." I said, "Well, I want you to think about what you want to do and then call me back." I said, I think it's a great idea. I said, "And I have some ideas of how I can help you, but do so." So he called me back a few days later. He goes, "Mark, this is so exciting. My business has agreed to let me get a Batman suit. And they're going to let me go to the hospital as Batman and give the kids comics." I go, "Well, has the hospital okayed that?" They go, "I haven't even talked to the hospital." Okay, so we need to so I call the hospital and say, "Hey, listen, there's an individual. He is not part of our organization. I want to stress, he is not part of our organization, but he has worked with us. He has supported us, and he would like to go as Batman to the hospital and give the kids some comics. I will make sure that the comics that he has given to them are appropriate." Hospital says, "Great, we've got to go through our vetting process. He needs to come in and talk with us." So I arranged all that. He went in and he calls me back and says, "Hospital, we're good." I said, "Great." Now there was a publisher back in the day that was in St. Louis. And they were since purchased by Oni Press, and I can't think of who it is right now. It'll come to me. But I called the publisher and said, "Hey, we're doing an all St. Louis event. If this individual came to you, would you be willing to give him some all ages comics that he could give to the hospital?" So she clears it with me. I explain the whole situation. He goes to visit. It's done. All we're doing here is facilitating. Again, this is something else that we'll do, right? We will facilitate other organizations to make a difference for the kids. So he calls me and says, we're all set. We're going to go to the hospital. I'm dressed as Batman. I'm going to give comic books to the kids in the hospital. I said to him, your life is never going to be the same. He goes, what do you mean by that? Come on. So something's going to happen. I don't know. Something is going to touch your heart in a way that you will never forget it. It's okay. The day comes. I ask him to call me an hour beforehand. He does. I said, how you feel? He goes, I'm really nervous. I go, yeah, you'll be great. You're Batman, right? You're Batman. You're walking into a child in a hospital room as Batman. You're gonna light them up. All I want you to do is call me within an hour after you're done. I want to hear how it went. He goes, great. How long do you think you're going to be there? He goes, I don't know, 40 minutes. Okay, give me a call in an hour. An hour goes by. Nothing. 2 hours goes by. I hear nothing. It was noon that he was doing this. At 6 o'clock, I called him. And he answered. He says, hi, Mark. His voice was cracking. He said, something happened, didn't it? So, yeah. So, do you want to tell me? Yeah. I dressed up as Batman and I went to this first room and it was really cool. And I gave the kids some comics. And then I went to the next room and I saw a mom sitting at the side of the bed with a child. I walked in and showed comics. Mom gave me the nod and I walked up and went to give the kids some comics. And the mom started screaming, in tears, screaming. I've only been in this hospital 5 minutes, Mark. And already I've screwed something up. I've upset mom. I've upset the child. I don't know what I did. The mom ran out of the room. And now I don't know what I've done. I walked out of the room. I still have my Batman mask on. I'm really upset. I said, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know what I did. And she looks at me and says, no, you don't understand. My child has been in that hospital bed for a significant amount of time and hasn't said a word until you walked in. I said, I don't understand. What did he say? He said, when you walked in, he looked at me and said, Mommy, that's Batman. He said, I took my mask off and I broke into tears because I didn't understand. I couldn't understand the impact. She said, you made my child talk and he hasn't spoken in such a long time. Thank you. And she gave me a hug. And I said, you never forget this, will you? He says, no. And I pause here and I look at people and I say, and I tell publishers this. This is the power of this industry. For so many, it's a job. We print, we publish, we license characters to make money. But sometimes magic happens in the hands of a child and a child's imagination, where the character transcends the moment and becomes incredibly special to that child. To that child in that hospital bed, that was Batman. And whatever situation was going through in that child's mind, it made a difference. And that child was speaking again. And that's the power of this industry. That's the power of escapism. That's the power of comic books and pop culture. It doesn't matter how old any of us are, because it transcends age. It transcends every genre. All of us love this industry for different reasons, but we love the industry. And for kids, it becomes a very, very special event when they can see a character or they can get a comic book. Again, just one small little act of kindness that who would have ever thought, right? From an event that we didn't do, just something that we facilitated. And I think these stories go on. And I love hearing stories like that. And I love sharing stories like that because it goes to show how together we can all make a difference just by giving in any way that we can.
Mark, just listening to your story, and you're going to be please expect an email from me in the next little while because I need to get this idea popping out of my head.
Thanks, Carrie.
I'm into the car. Well, I'm into many hobbies, but one is the classic car scene, and I know some people who have like the Knight Rider kit car. I know someone who builds the Batmobiles. We need to have a car show.
That's the fun thing about this, Willow. We can do whatever. This is where I'm saying there's no politics. We can do whatever, anything that that moves the needle and makes a difference. We can do. There's no wrong answer. We can do anything that is special that helps the kids out. The enthusiasm is easy when you hear this. I mean, I literally I get up very early. I get up at 6:30, 7 o'clock. That may not be early for people who get up earlier than me, but that's early. But I will be on my system. I will be drafting emails. I will be making phone calls or leaving voicemails. And at 11 o'clock at night, and no, it's not straight through because I've got stuff to do during the day with other stuff. But at 11 o'clock at night, I will still be answering emails or doing what we need to do. I never thought we would have that much work to do, but it's not work. It's difference making. And it's very heartwarming. We've come a long way from the days when I had a few of my own comics and wanted to make a difference for 1 or 2 hospitals. Now it's 200, and the number goes up every month, every quarter. Karen, how you doing, girl? I haven't talked to you in a while. I mean, it's nice to see your name on here. She's been typing something. Karen Pierman, who I'm referencing, when we first started our website, I mean, we were in our infancy. Karen heard about us, and I think it was in our first year that she's been part of this organization, and it's very nice to have people. And whenever we do a Facebook post, I can count on Karen to just put some positivity in there. So if I'm Mr. Positivity, she's Miss Positivity there as well. So it's very nice.
I love that.
Have people. So Willow, between you and me, Kelly's not listening. She said, "Mark, could you talk a lot? Because I don't want to talk. My voice is no good."
All right.
Yep.
So if you are interested in getting involved with Comic Books for Kids, please email that. I hope that's your current email.
It is.
Okay.
I tried to make it longer, but I left it at that.
You can also reach out to them at their website for comicbooksforkids.org. You are a fantastic person, and
Yes.
I hope you get all the best coming to you this year.
Willow, remember Hotel California, girl. You're in room 1313. You're not going anywhere.
And that is our hour. Mark, thank you for talking to us. It's always a joy. We're so excited about this weekend, and we will see you on our panels tonight and this weekend. So
We will. To you, Kelly, Crayley, Willow, to the team, thank you for working with us. When I heard you guys were going to be working with us again, I got to tell you, I could not ask to work with a more delightful group of people. So thank you all for this wonderful opportunity.
Thank
to work
you.
with you guys.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure.
All right, before you let me
For everyone
go,
else,
when
yeah.
do you want me on? When would you guys like me on next? Do you guys tell me when?
Jump on the creek Q&A.
Do you
Which-
have the
Got an
links to
engraved
them?
invitation.
Which
Yeah.
should be at what time? I want to make sure we're
Now.
good.
Now.
Just
right,
stay on.
right after. Yeah, right after.
Well, you have to move to the next link.
Right.
But
we're good.
Yeah, jump
We're
right
good.
over. For everyone else, stick around. We have just Creek Wilson coming up next and Leah Williams after that. We have a great Friday night.
We've got a great show.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
The Multiverse Fundraiser is partnering with Comicbooks for Kids to raise money for their cause. Their mission is to provide comic books to children in hospitals and cancer centers across the United States, Canada, and the UK. We believe in the importance of providing stories that promote hope and bravery to kids who are facing things that are scarier than any supervillain. And we truly believe in this cause. To donate, you can either go to our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/The Multiverse Fundraiser or directly to comicbooksforkids.org.
The Multiverse Fundraiser would like to thank our sponsors: Earth Dog Studios, Clobberin Comics, The Art of Brian Rodman, Studio Moonfall, Elusive Comics, and of course, the Phoenix Sisters Entertainment Network for hosting this event. Learn how to support these businesses on the MVFR website.